So in the summer of 2017, we signed a contract with Western Edge Pictures for the Paul Sykes movie. It's been a long time, so 7.5 years. Um, so the plan was that they were gonna, well, this obviously approached us on the back of my book's research, and the plan was that September 2020 they were going to make the film. So that was what, 3 years down the line. Of course, COVID come and ruined that, and then of course, kind of cost of living, and um, no one's got money for gas, electric, petrol. So it's been a struggle. Um, Minimum wage went up last year. It's going up again in April. About 71 pence, I think. So basically, the kind of the world's a little bit not in the greatest place, trying to compensate. But moral of the story is, so we are getting a film update next week, I'm told. Definitely this month from Western Edge Pictures. So it was on there. It's been on their website. Uh, Let me think. So we were told 2017. I think they put it on their website 2020. But I noticed this week that Vaughan Civil, who's the filmmaker of Western Edge, so he's put it on his personal website. And, at times I actually I started doubting myself, thinking, is it happening? Obviously, through COVID, they've done a documentary on Paul Gascoigne. Basically, they said that they could make that just from the footage, so they didn't have to leave their offices. Obviously, they're the people who've done the Joe Calzaghe film. They've done the Prevenge. They did something on Oscar Pistorius, and the national press have done a story once or twice. I know the Wakefield paper have done it a couple of times because they rang me, but an actor was approached. So when Vaughan Civil watched that documentary in, I don't know, so he first contacted us about July 2017. But when he watched that, he rang a certain actor, a household, well-known name, bit of a heartthrob, um, very familiar to millions, and he said, "I'm gonna make the Paul Sykes film, and you're gonna play me, Paul Sykes." Now, I spoke to this actor he's verbally agreed, but there's no contract as such with who's. But then a couple of years ago, Michael Parr, who's Ross from Emmerdale, he put his hat in the ring, and he's put pictures on. A lot of people are convinced that he's playing him. Yeah, there's certain things that we know which we're not allowed to say. But my point of this video is maybe next week, or certainly in January, we're going to get an update on the film. They did tell us a couple of years back. We haven't had an update for 2 years, over 2 years now. But they did say to us, the best time to make a film is in the summer. And one or two of us at War Cry has been like, "Well, what's happening? It's taking forever." And they said to us, "They said, listen, films can take years. This, in regarding to films, um, this can take. This is nothing. It can basically take quite a long time." Um, yeah. So the film itself, the script, they've hired a few writers. Leo Bill is the main one, and I think he's done quite a few things. So I think Vaughan Civil, and I always get the actor who's verbally accepted it and Vaughan Civil mixed up. So when I say that word, I've kind of got a pause just in case I'm dropping the actor's name. But so the script is done, and it costs a lot of money to hire writers. So the film is going to be called Paul Sykes at Large, as in the same documentary. So we were told in 2017 that basically their plan was to make a film and a documentary, a bit like a bit like Lenny McLean's when it come out. I can't remember when that was, about 2016 was it? But yeah, the film wasn't the best, but the film and the documentary kind of ran par. So that was their plan. Um, Obviously, my research. So I did the first book, interviewed 50 people. Second book, 34 people. And the third book, one person, because it was mainly all my words. And in them books, you've got Chief of West Yorkshire Police, uh, home of secretary offenders, Lupset beat bobbies, his sibling, his niece, two of he's got 7 sons that I'm aware of. There's probably more, but two of his sons were in them books, and yeah, there was a lot of research. But the thing is, since those books have been done, sadly, a lot of the people in the books have died. John Spenceley, good friend of mine's no longer here. I did say to him, will you be in the documentary? And he was looking forward to it. Davy Dunford, who was anyone who's read Sweet Agony will be very familiar with that name. Ronnie Trelfall, he was another one very close to Sykes. Yeah, and if you, particularly that 7 book, the second book, as I said, 34 people are in it, and I think 6 have died within about the first 3 years of me releasing that book. So I'm starting to think that book was cursed. But yeah, if I've interviewed you for any one of them books, just watch out for falling pianos or getting struck by lightning. But yeah, we're going to put the what we're allowed to say. We'll put an update out in the next couple of weeks. Um, I know there's quite a few people who go, "Oh, it's not happening, and he's lying and all this." And listen, if you go on Western Edge Pictures website or Vaughan Civil's, you can see for itself. It's got the synopsis, and it actually says in development, I think was the correct term. But yeah, this next week or two, we will be getting a thorough and extensive kind of look at what has been happening behind the scenes. And as soon as we know, and as long as I'm what I can say, then I'll be putting out on this channel, putting out on the Paul Sykes page. That's actually got over 34,000 now, and that page. I mean, I only started that in um, 9 years ago, and it was just basically, I hadn't written one book, but when you need to do research, you need a base basically, and that's kind of been a foundation for so many people who've inboxed, whether they were living on the Lupset Council estate or whether it's been a well-known name, famous name, or yeah, it's been invaluable to the subjects, to the projects. But yeah, as soon as I know, as soon as we're allowed to say, is it about the 11th of January now? So in the next couple of weeks, I will be putting out what we've been told, basically, because we basically sign a contract every 6 months, every January and then every July. And I've been on to the publishers and been like, look, did I imagine this? Do you know what I mean? It's like, is this really happening? So, they've told them, because I was in London a couple of months back, and their office is in North London, and I was in Camden, which is North. And I said, look, I'm in London. I can come and see you, and yeah. But we will be getting an update, and I will be putting it out. But I've noticed quite recently, last couple of weeks, a lot of inboxes. Now it's quite funny, really, because a lot of people are like, "Oh, you can't make a film on him, and he was a monster, and he was a really unpleasant character," which, yeah, totally agree with. I have to laugh sometimes. Some people kind of message me like, slag him off, like it's I don't care. I didn't know him. I I never wasn't even aware of him until 5 years after he died in 2012. I was aware of John L. Gardner, obviously, because I'm just a bit of a boxing historian, but I never met him, didn't know him. Um, and it does it kind of it's quite comical. People on the Paul Sykes page, and they're like, "Oh, he was a wrong un, he was a nuisance, he was a all these things," and I'm like, "Hang on, there's been films on John Wayne Gacy, Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, um, who else is there? Even in a British level, Cray Twins, murderers, Far West. I've thoroughly beyond researched his life, and obviously that's why the film company have come looking for us. Is basically, I suppose we did a lot of the dog the groundwork, if you like. But and obviously we're going to be a kind of like a technical advisor, if you like. But I am. But you know, the Cray twins were cold-blooded murderers. There's been films on the Essex Boys, Charles Bronson, Charlie Richardson, Jack the Ripper. God, Dennis Nielsen. Yeah, if I sat and thought about it, there's been a load of figures on absolute monsters, and it's very much part of, particularly in Wakefield, it's very much part of social history. Because it actually even he obviously died 2007, so what's that coming up for 18 years? Um, I was 26 when he died, so it's very much, and I'm 44 now, so it's very much in our lifetime. And I think I said before, when them books come out, first one was an Amazon bestseller, second one was an Amazon bestseller, and I couldn't kind of break the Waterstones taboo, if you like. I couldn't get my foot in the door, and I used to contact the shops and like, look, this book's flying off the shelves, and I remember them saying to me, well, actually, so that book come out. It was the 10th anniversary of his death. And I remember one of the ladies from the Wakefield store said to me, well, you know, to be put it bluntly, a lot of us in this shop bear the scars of him, um, whatever, spitting at him or um, verbally abusing him. And even in the days of kind of when he was very vulnerable and, he was more to be pitied, he was still kind of nasty with his mouth. He'd be sat there talking to the pigeons, chasing cars, totally delirious. Um, So yeah, and I didn't quite get that until then. But listen, I didn't know him, but do I find him interesting? Absolutely. Um, from a psychological aspect, it's like what makes somebody behave the way that man did. And a lot of people will say it was his parents. Um, One thing I did find from finding his talking to his the only sibling was so the mother had it was actually thunder and lightning when Sykes was born, but the mother had a craving for wheat, and it's been scientifically proven that anyone who eats wheat in pregnancy make the babies extremely violent. We checked that one up, and I don't know. I've no idea. I'm sure. In fact, I do know because again, his sister told me. Said he was in all these kind of prisons and mental institutions, and he was tested. He tested for everything, and apparently he wasn't actually mentally ill. He wasn't mad. He was bad. But yeah, I don't know, mate. It's changed a lot more. Um, I definitely think he would have been diagnosed with some kind of personality disorder. But it's changed even now, even so much in the last 5 or 6 years. But yeah, film update is going to be coming, and as soon as I know, I will let you all know. Yeah, it's very, very much happening. Um, we haven't just made this up, which a lot of people have said. So you can actually check yourself. You can go onto the Western Edge Pictures website. You can go onto the Vaughan Civil. These are award-winning filmmakers, award-winning film directors, and yeah, they're absolutely obsessed. And how good it would be, I don't know, but I think that's when he will kind of become more of a household name. Um, I'm just trying to think. Obviously, Lenny McLean's had a film. Uh, uh, just looking at the books. Yeah, there's been absolutely stacks full of movies on these kind of British tough guys. If I think I don't know. I said Jimmy Boyle. Yeah, if I sat and thought about it, there's absolutely stacks in abundance. Um, and yeah, listen, people are like, oh, why? Listen, if filmmakers they actually obviously think it's worthwhile. Otherwise, they wouldn't be investing millions of pounds. But yeah, in the next week or two, what we get told, we will completely put back all to you guys. So just a quick update.